From the SSU trying to sneak into the MCU party with Sweeney's character, to her connection with the Secret Invasion arc from the comics, Madam Web has Marvel fans a bit too excited for what's to come. But it could also be bad for the MCU. You see, Madam Web's abilities could be used as a plot device to fix any inconsistencies in the MCU. And what could this do? Well, this could make the stories feel forced instead of feeling natural. Not only that, but Madam Web's abilities could make her a target for villains who want to use her for their gain, just like the Scarlet Witch tried to use America Chavez for her selfish desires. So it's only natural for fans to be a little worried, because it could lead to her becoming a pawn in a larger game, which would be a shame for a character that has so much potential. Another concern is that Madam Web's introduction could lead to an over-reliance on the multiverse in the MCU. Sure, the idea of exploring different dimensions is exciting, but then again, it could become boring if it's the only thing the MCU focuses on. And then there's the possibility that Madam Web could be used as a crutch to prop up weaker storylines in the MCU. Of course, we won't know how Sydney Sweeney's character will be utilized in the MCU until we see her on the big screen.
But she didn't say that. In fact, it was much weirder. She just stared straight ahead like she's doing now and didn't say a word.
But wait, you might be wondering how a movie from Sony's Spider-Man universe might affect the MCU? Well, here's the thing. The SSU is connected to the MCU one way or another. Sure, we can't deny that we haven't seen characters like Venom or Morbius in the MCU yet. But here's the thing. It's possible that all the heroes will be united soon, all thanks to Sony's deal with Marvel. In fact, Andrew Garfield could make a comeback as our friendly neighborhood web-slinger too. Can I get an amen?
I'm afraid I can't help you much, Peter. I don't know why they left or where they were going. Good reflexes.
Thank you.
But let's get back to the topic at hand. Madam Web is an interesting choice for a movie, to say the least. I mean, who would have thought that a supporting character from Spider-Man's world would get her film? And yet, here we are, because Sweeney's role might be as important for the MCU as it is for the SSU. You see, she's rumored to be playing Julia Carpenter, the second Spider-Woman in Madam Web. And let me tell you, that is a big deal. Spider-Woman has been a beloved character in comics for decades, with several different versions over the years. And while it's a bold move for Sony to jump straight to Carpenter's Spider-Woman, it makes sense, considering her connection to Madam Web and Spidey himself. Now, before you get too excited, it's worth mentioning that Jessica Drew is way more popular than Carpenter because she's the first Spider-Woman. And lucky for you, you'll get to see her firsthand in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But here's the thing, Sweeney's Spider-Woman also goes on to become Arachne and Madam Web later on in the comics. So her characters might attract more viewers than Jessica Drew. And let's be real, Sweeney could attract more viewers because she's a rising star in Hollywood.
I don't care what happens to me. I don't care how angry Maddie gets. You two shouldn't be together, you're toxic.
How would you know?
Because she's my best friend and I'm in a relationship with you. She's not good for you, you're not good for her, and I will do everything I can to prevent it.
With Madam Web being just one of the many exciting projects she's involved in. Euphoria? Hello? Zendaya isn't the only star to port over from the show now. Unfortunately, the movie has been pushed back from its original October 2023 release date, so we'll have to wait a while before we get more information. But hey, at least we have this exciting casting news to tide us over for now. And when you consider her powers, we might get several different versions of our favorite heroes in the MCU. But here's the real tea. The SSU needs Spider-Woman if it's going to succeed. I mean, let's face it, their approach to a villain-centric franchise hasn't exactly worked out so far. Sure, Venom was fun, and Let There Be Carnage was well, there. But Morbius wasn't well received by fans. And let's not even get started on El Muerto and Hypno Hustler. Who even are they? No, what the SSU needs is a unifying force, a character that can bring all the storylines together and provide a strong opposing force for our villains to play off of. And that's where Spider-Woman comes in. Not to mention, Sweeney's Julia Carpenter could potentially become a big star in the franchise with Tom Hardy's Venom. And whoever will play Silk in Silk's Spider Society TV series will give the SSU a chance at a cohesive, overarching narrative. But wait, we're forgetting about the MCU. What does this mean for Spider-Woman's potential appearance in the MCU? Well, let's just say it's complicated. Because, you see, her future in the MCU isn't exactly certain, with Sony still holding the rights to many of Spidey's characters. Yes, that includes Spider-Woman. And while there's certainly a place for her in the MCU, especially with her connection to the Secret Invasion comics arc, it's not as simple as just introducing her like any other Marvel character. But what's the deal with Madam Web? Well, she's one of Spider-Man's villains, and Sony retained the rights to her when they made their deal with Marvel, and now they're using her as a way to hook their Spider-Verse into the MCU. Clever, right? But what makes this character so special is that she's not your run-of-the-mill villain. She's cursed with a fatal disease that gives her powerful psychic abilities and connects her to something called the Web of Life and Destiny. This is a mystical force that links the multiverse in Marvel. In other words, she's the key that could unlock a whole new world of Spider-Man movies. But here's the unfortunate bit that we have to discuss. While Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and its sequels are all animated, Madam Web is a live-action film. This means that Sony can use her to reach into the MCU and connect their corner of the Marvel Universe with Peter Parker's. It's like they're sneaking into a party they weren't invited to, but they're using the coolest entrance possible. But hold on a second. You might be thinking about how Sony's going to make this work with all the legal issues and whatnot. Well, that's where the Web of Life and Destiny comes in. It creates a logical comic book way for Sony to start their narrative within their own Spider-Verse. That too, without having to borrow Tom Holland's Spider-Man from the MCU. Genius, right? So, what could this mean for the future of Spider-Man movies? Well, the possibilities are endless. With Madam Web as the key, Sony could create a mini Spider-Verse of films revolving specifically around Spider-Man, and they could do it without any legal complications. We could even see more than one Spider-Man in the MCU, and they wouldn't have to meet each other simply because of legal red tape. And let's not forget about all the other Spider-Man villains that Sony has up their sleeves. We've already seen hints of the Sinister Six in No Way Home, and with Kraven the Hunter and El Muerto projects in the works, the Spider-Verse is only going to get bigger. Needless to say, the Spider-Verse is about to get a whole lot more interesting, but this could make the MCU slightly more confusing and make the whole multiverse theme they have going on feel repetitive. So, my dear friends, what does all of this mean for the future of our beloved superheroes? Well, only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Sydney Sweeney might just be the key to unlocking a whole new world of possibilities, which could either be good or bad for the SSU and MCU. For now, that's it from me about Sydney Sweeney's Madam Web character.